got some nerve to challenge me. I'll show you the difference between me and you because you're such an idiot.
Please stop it.
The next thing I knew, my mother-in-law, Kate, was laughing and cutting up my clothes, which were important to me. After that, all of my favorite clothes were strewn across the floor. It was a gift my late mother had given me.
Oh my God.
My name is Kim, and I'm a 30-year-old housewife. I met my husband, Nick, through my university years. We met when my friends and I were having a few drinks, and one of my friends invited me over. He then asked me out on several dates, and we started going out. We got married and lived happily to a married couple. 2 years after we got married, our son was born, and he's now 4 years old. I thought I could live peacefully while watching my son grow up, but unexpected events made my life a living hell. That event was moving in with my aunt. One day, we were suddenly forced to move in with my in-laws. But as I recall, originally, my brother-in-law and his wife moved in years ago at my parents-in-law's house. Then, to my surprise, I learned that my brother-in-law and his wife had already divorced a few years ago. And my brother-in-law is currently his own boss. Nick also had no idea about that either. As per my brother-in-law and my parents-in-law, they didn't mention it because we didn't ask for any information. I thought that a family member should have told us about such an important news. But since we saw them at New Year's, they might have to tell us when we come to visit them. I had no bad impression of my mother-in-law, Absi. Whenever I visited my parents in Lat, though Kate wasn't too friendly, she would always nag me about anything in particular. She had a pretty straightforward personality. For me, I find it more annoying when people talk about specific things. So I was grateful for the distance she kept. Plus, my in-laws loved my son and didn't think it would be a problem living with them. When I agreed to his idea, Nick was immediately contacted his parents. And in no time at all, we were sitting down to dinner with my parents-in-law at their place. My father-in-law, Jim, is still working and hasn't retired yet, while my wife, Kate, is a stay-at-home mom. I became a full-time housewife after my birth. And as I had only been alive for a short time, I had hoped that Kate would teach me things, including her recipes. But even without having such thoughts forced to do housework, even when I didn't want to, the first day of living together was normal day. Both my parents-in-law welcomed us with smiles, and that day, we had a feast to celebrate for new beginnings. But the next day, Kate's attitude changed.
How long are you going to be sleeping?
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's still 5:30 in the morning, and my head hurts because I drank too much alcohol last night.
As a wife, you have to get up before else in the family.
Around what time shall I get up?
Well, I basically get up around this. You should try to get up at 5:0 least. What? Do you have something to say to me, a housewife?
It's not a great idea to make our relationship worse from day one of together. Besides, getting up early is good for health, so I should get used to it.
Well then, please start making lunch boxes for Jim and Nick.
Yes, I understand.
And just as I began to cook normally, my husband came home from work.
What are you doing?
Ow!
Kate had slapped my hand, which was the knife, very hard.
You're doing it completely wrong.
What am I doing wrong?
Don't think that you will be taught everything. Think on your own.
I rubbed my hands, which were turning, watched Kate's knife work, but I couldn't really see how her kids were different from mine. To be honest, I think I cut my hair quicker than she did. Even after that, Kate's bullying didn't stop. She would get furious with me about things that didn't matter, such as how poorly I cleaned the house, how badly I seasoned the food, how crooked my back was. Kate's anger was like molten lava, never knowing when it would erupt abruptly. So I was pretty traumatized, and it became normal for me to spend my days worrying about the time, trying not to offend Kate in any way. It was so hard for me that I consulted my husband about it, but my husband missed my point. My mom thinks it's for my own good, but I am grateful to her. No matter what I said further, he wouldn't listen to me, assuming that I was just complaining. Somewhere along the way, I began today by killing my emotions, thinking I only put up with myself. Everything will be all right. If I did that, this house would run. All I had to do was to be patient. 3 years had passed since I realized it. I was living like that. As usual, Kate's bullying towards me continued, but since I had been apologizing to her all the time, I was never always subjected to her excessive bullying. One day, however, something horrible and unexpected happened. It happened when my son, Tim, was in his living room with Kate and me. Tim wanted to watch a cartoon that had asked Kate if he could change channel. However, Kate refused because she was watching her show. After a moment, Tim replied, "Okay," frown on his face, but Kate did not moment.
Hey, Tim, what was that face you just made?
Huh?
You frowned, didn't you? I'm in the second highest position in the house after my husband, Jim. So how dare you show your growing face?
Then, Tim starts to cry at Kate's sudden anger.
You're a man, but you're pathetic F to buy forgiveness. I will beat that rotten mind of yours into shape.
With saying this, Kate tried to slay.
Stop! Please stop!
I had pushed Kate down.
Don't you dare lay a hand on Tim!
Kate was startled for a moment, but her face turned red and she glared at Sarah. Do you realize what you've done? She then got up and walked away. Then she came back into the living room, holding my clothes and a pair of scissors. I had a bad feeling about this.
Kate?
I'll show you the difference between me and you, because you're such an idiot.
Please stop it.
The next thing I knew, Kate, was that she was cutting up my clothes, which were in a pile on the floor. After that, my favorite clothes were 6 away on the floor. It was a gift my late mother had given me. I pick up my favorite clothes in tea. Tim calls out, "Mom," and gives me while crying to me. I can't be in this place anymore. I finally woke up and decided to pack things and take Tim with me to get here. Until now, Kate had forced me to do every day, and I was not allowed to the house without her permission. But I no longer care about that anymore. Seeing my chance, I loaded my bags into the car, told Kate that I was going to the supermarket with Tim, and drove off to my parents' house. My dad, Scene, my brother Jeremy, and his wife Gwen lives together. My mom passed away about 10 years as illness, and the clothes that were cut up by my favorite designer, who made them for me as a gift when I found a job. My mom passed away a month after she received the clothes as a gift. So you can imagine how important clothes are to me, and I can say that they are one of my favorite memories of my mom. My dad, Jeremy, and Gwen were all very upset when they saw the destroyed sea. They had heard about all the bullying I had received from Kate. Jeremy told me, "You've endured, worked so hard, so leave the rest to..." Dad also spoke kindly to me and told me that I could take the first bath. It had been years since I had taken first. After the bath, Jeremy and Gwen served tea to Tim and me. It had been years since I had eaten a home-cooked meal, prepared by someone other than myself. I couldn't stop crying. I came to my senses and decided that I would never go back to that house and file for a divorce from Nick. As I finished dinner, suddenly my phone rang.
Hey, where are you?
I won't go back to your parents' place anymore. I also want divorce.
Divorce? How can you say such a stupid thing?
You have no idea how badly I have been treated by Kate. I can take it anymore.
Come on, don't be selfish. Now get back here immediately.
Not only did Kate try to slap Tim, also cut up my favorite clothes.
What is the best way to get rid of a cold sore?
And you still take Kate's side.
Then Kate took the phone from Nick, and I heard a tremendous voice coming from it.
Stop spouting off all kinds of nonsense to Nick and get your ass back here now. I will never allow a divorce or anything else to ever leave this house. You are my slave for life.
No way. I can no longer live with someone who destroys my favorite clothes.
That was a masterpiece. The look of despair on your face when I was cutting up your favorite clothes, it was priceless. Were they memories of your mother? You're so unworthy, which is why I to cut your favorite clothes into pieces.
I understood very well. Thank you for your confession.
W, who are you?
I am Kim's brother.
Brother? This has nothing to do with you as an outsider.
I'm not an outsider. I'm her family. Kim is my precious sister. I recorded the whole thing, what you said.
What do you mean? What do you mean?
I will also report about this to Nick's company and Jim's company.
What? No, please don't do that.
Then proceed immediately with the divorce between Kim and Nick. Of course, Tim will be taken by Kim of the child support will be coverer.
No way.
If you do not agree with these conditions, please do not use this site or spread the word to your neighbors. If you try to abuse my nephew, I will take legal action against you.
I understand. Please don't do that.
Then please tell Nick to come over place and have the divorce papers.
And before I knew it, Jeremy had convinced Nick to divorce me. A few days later, I saw Nick at the cafe, and Jeremy was there too. My husband awkwardly came in alone, the divorce papers.
Well then, we'll file these papers.
You won't report this to my company, right?
Nick looked relieved as he left them. With this, Nick and I had divorced. Nick also paid me child support at...
Well, let's begin our real plan then.
After this, I filed a lawsuit against him for destruction of property and demanding alimony, as instructed by Jeremy. And I reported these events to Nicole, Jim's company. As a result, both Nick and Jim's characters were affected because they are now known as bystanders who only silently watch unbelievable behavior and do nothing. Nick contacted me saying, "That's not what you promised." But I responded to his brother saying he wouldn't report it. Never said that I wouldn't report it. This was my brother's plan all alone. My brother decided that the only way with unreasonable people was to be unreasonable and to thoroughly have his parents suffer the consequences. Of course, we reported all of Kate's unbelievable behavior to their whole neighbor. As a result, Kate is no longer speaking to anyone and nobody wants to get involved with her. Whenever Kate walked outside, people in the community would spread the word about her so that mothers with their children could move to hide and protect them. As a result, Kate became completely and withdrawn and doesn't go out. It's a really nice feeling to get back into it. Meanwhile, I have fully returned to my parents' place, begun working on a new project. I am also working hard as a single mom. Back at home, Jeremy and Gwen and my dad would take care of Tim and feed him. Tim is definitely enjoying his life, surrounded by his kind aunt and uncle. I really can't thank Jeremy enough full support. Next time I have some money saved up like to take my whole family on a... Thank you for watching until the end. Please subscribe to our channel. See you in our next video.